And now we are proceeding with the event. We have two speakers left. The good news, the last two speakers, and these two speakers are representing the first generation because they came to this country as the first immigrant from their particular respective background. One of them is a professional. He's a doctor, and he is highly respected for his professional expertise, for being a fellow of Royal College of Surgeons and several other different awards and qualifications. But at the same time, he brings passion to the field of media from the medical field, and he managed to set up probably one of the most representative channel for community. That's an internet-based channel which is growing very fast internationally. I'm talking about Dr. Suhail Chughtai, who is going to speak on the issue of identity and how it impacts our professionals and our oncoming generations. So over to Dr. Suhail Chughtai.
Thank you very much. I think I've learned a lot from the speakers today. It's great insight, very diverse insight. My purpose of talking today is to raise awareness and add to your existing knowledge on a very important subject, that is the negative identity. Because if you don't have a commitment to an identity, you are a prey to negative identity, and that's one reason of crimes, drugs, and also the procrastination. People lose sight of their career. So I want to take you through a small conversation, I would say, not a lecture, that how can identity develop? What is the process of formation of identity? We have a wonderful research worker here. I think he would know more Erik Erikson than anybody else here. In 1980s, he coined the term identity crisis. He said when you have a very intense retrospective analysis of yourself, you become unsure of your beliefs you held for years. And then you certainly feel, who am I? And then you lose the sight of your role as well. You don't know what you're doing. Is that a purposeful thing? Are you going to carry it on? Are you going to stop it? Now, why this happens, why this provocation of introspective happens, it's again a different question, but I want to take you through the very important stage of life when the identity is formed. And that is, I think, the keystone for success in life, for not only professional life, but personal life. You know, in this country, in many countries, the rate of personal life failure is one of the behind underpinning reason is loss of identity. So let me take you through this. This work of Erik Erikson in 1970s was enforced by Marcia, a very wonderful psychosocial development psychologist. You know, Sigmund Freud, he did same theory on the identity crisis, but it was more psychosexual analysis, whereas the ego-based identity was formed by Marcia and this Erik Erikson. And what he said was that you can have one of the four statuses of identity. You can be one of the four individuals. One is that you are in the stage of foreclosure. Now, foreclosure, which means that you are committed to identity, fine. But you haven't had chance to explore the alternatives. So you know what you are, you're happy, but you're vulnerable. The moment there is a point of change in your life, you start doubting yourself. Was it better? Is that truth or that one? Because you haven't explored the identity. Your beliefs are taught by parents, the society, the schooling, and then you change situation. And then you start questioning yourself. So that is foreclosure. Happy state, but dangerous one. The next is the moratorium stage, when you're changing, you're thinking, you're open-minded, you're discussing everything. Faith, personal goals, beliefs, ideas, academics, personal life. Because you're open to ideas, and then you become a person after that research, after that exploration. That is the stage of moratorium. It can stay all your life, or it can finish in few months or years, depending on how thoughtful, how insightful you are. So you can be in stage of moratorium all your life, or you can culminate that at a point and reach the stage of third one, which is identity achievement. Now that is a state when you walk without being conscious. You don't care where your right hand is because you're sure of your beliefs. You know what you are. You talk without fabrication. You walk without alteration. You wear what you like. You're at ease. You're smiling without asking to smile because you're at ease. Now that is the stage of identity achievement. This is a very important point because if you don't understand that, you won't understand the next part. The next part is crucial, the negative identity. Now, just imagine a guy, you may be able to connect this to many people around our society, sometimes in our families, around us, that a person who doesn't care about having an identity is not committed, he or she is not committed, and he or she doesn't care. So that person could be happy, but that person can be victim to negative identity. That's called identity diffusion. When your role is not clear, and suddenly when there is a point of change in life, you become one of the two persons. Either you take crime, drugs, because you want to assert your identity. At that time, you've gone through that stage of development. You're standing blank. All you want to do is exert yourself. And how you do it? If you're a very strong, abrupt person, you take drugs, crimes, because you feel you've got subordinates. You can rule them. Or you go into the stage of procrastination. Now that's very important again. Procrastination is when you are delaying things. Your priorities are wrong. You are doing things for pleasure, not for goal achievement. You're leaving everything at the last. You're losing concentration so quickly. Now that could be a physical disorder, hyperactivity syndrome. But if that's not the physical side, then it is a purely psychosocial development flaw, which we are all responsible for as parents. If we didn't pick it up, and now we say, why? We have to have knowledge of that to prevent this happening. So all the parents, listen that carefully. Negative identity is because of identity diffusion. It could be around us. We must protect that. Now, how to pick it up? It's important that the conversation between your family members, your friends, your people around you, your employees, your staff members, that they are not focusing, let's say, on their work. You have to give them a set number of tasks, and only then they can perform. If you leave them on their own, they will do things for pleasure. They're distracted so easily. How can they be future leaders? That stage goes on, and they will stay like that. And I think somebody mentioned that there are very low achievement rate of Pakistanis. One reason is identity crisis. There's no lack of resources here. You're getting free schooling. Okay, you're getting free schooling. You got open merit to go to universities. So why we get down to that point, it's that we don't pick up the identity diffusion, which is the role. Your role is not defined. You don't help your kids. So I think this is one area where I wanted to really emphasize. I wanted to say that all the conversations today are wonderful. I have great regard for that. And they all point towards this reason. What can we do now? So I want to just add a solution or a strategy to the comments and the discussion we had. That what is our next step? When we go home, what do we take from here? We take a strategy to prevent negative identity, because that is bound to decrease the productivity. And I think it's important that, the provocation to identity crisis, when does that happen? When there's a point of change in life. When you leave your country, when someone very close to you dies, when there's the end of marriage, there's a new relationship, there's a change of job. These are the points you need to watch. Because if at that point there's a change in the person, that person is vulnerable. That person is either in the stage of foreclosure or moratorium. A person with identity achievement will quickly adjust. So that person who is having at point of change is showing signs of vulnerability. I think that person needs help. And I think it's a very, very well-known theory. I'm not going to take you into that theory. There are 4 points. How can you prevent people from going into that stage? The first point is extinction. That don't provoke the behavior which causes the other person to react. Like if he gets very angry on discussing his academic or her academic careers, don't discuss that. Let the person grow to that point. So don't provoke the person to get that person labeled as an aggressive person, because the more he does that, the more people will react to that person. The more people will react, the more he or she will believe, I am like this. So don't provoke. It's called extinction. Don't provoke the thing which can make a person vulnerable. And then the peer pressure, of course. I think somebody mentioned that. We need to make sure the peers don't discourage, don't label. Don't label, that's the word. Please do not label someone as he's a bad guy, he's a fool. He or she is a fool. No, nobody's fool. Nobody's fool. And the teachers have the same responsibility. A teacher should say, in my class, there is no fool. Everybody is intelligent. You just have to express it. Some people express it and some don't. And I think all these things, they all matter to us. Let's take something from this lecture. I feel that my purpose of talking today was precisely this. Thank you very much for listening with patience. Thank you.